Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Quite a while back I did say that I was going to make a video series of some kind in regards to the experiences that I've had over the years, and today I've had a little bit of free time, so I figured I would start the first video today. Now, I figured I'd kick things off with the strangest thing I've ever seen in my life. The first time that I really remember seeing an apparition. Now, in order to do this, we have to travel all the way back, figuratively, to Christmas of 1999. I'm downstairs in the living room with my mum. We're the only two people in the house. I'm watching TV, she's wrapping presents, and after a while she runs out of wrapping paper. And she turns to me and she says, "Can you go upstairs and go in my wardrobe? There's some extra wrapping paper in there, just bring it down to me." So I was happy to do so, and I've gone into the kitchen, into the hallway. Before I get to the stairs, I put my hands on the railings, my foot on the first step, and I look upwards. And right at the top of the stairs, I see the strangest thing ever. Basically, what I've ended up stumbling across is what looks like densely packed cigarette smoke in the shape of a human, minus the legs. Now, through this swirling smoke that I'm seeing, I can make out a couple of features. There's like an ornate pattern of a dressing gown and curly hair. Now, my gran had died earlier in that year, and on a daily basis she would wear a dressing gown with a similar pattern to what this thing had, and she also had the curly hair. Now, I'm not really sure what it is exactly that I saw that day. I have a feeling that it's some kind of something related to stone tape theory, because she lived with us in that house for many years, walked up and down that staircase on a daily basis, so it's more than likely that what I've seen is some kind of imprint on the house itself. But anyway, it gets about a quarter of the way down the stairs towards me, which it's moving at this kind of speed anyway, so as you can imagine it's taken a while. And then eventually it just disperses in kind of like a ripple effect, and then after the ripple's gone through, you can see what looks like all this smoke just fade out quite slowly. And for a couple of minutes afterwards I was still stuck in the same spot. I didn't go upstairs. Instead, after I regained my composure, I went back into my mum and said, "Mum, I think I've just seen Grandma," and told her what happened. So the next thing that I wanted to mention happened probably around 11 years later. I was out walking my dog. It was quite late at night, and typically I walk him quite late because there's a lot of people in this area that own vicious dogs, so obviously to try and keep him safe, I'll walk him when there's not many people around. So anyway, this one particular night I'd been out with him for about 45 minutes, decided it was time to go home. Now, I've basically been walking on a local field, which you've seen in my videos previously before, or at least you've heard about it. So anyway, to get back home, all I have to do is cross through a small wood, cross a road, walk round a corner and keep on walking, then I'm home. On this one particular night, the road was full of traffic for some reason, even though it was about 9 o'clock at night. And I'm standing there with the dog waiting for a gap in the traffic so I can cross. And illuminated in the headlights on the other side of the road, illuminated in the headlights of a car coming past, I could see a gentleman, probably in his late 50s, wearing mainly sports gear, white trainers and a woolly hat. And I didn't really think a great deal of it. Just some other guy crossing the road, right? Well, not necessarily, because eventually there was a gap in the traffic and we crossed the road. Now, I've got to the other side and then I've kind of realised, one, I didn't see the guy cross, I didn't see him come past me, and on top of that, we are in autumn, there's loads of crunchy leaves on the floor because we're right next to this wood. Yeah, I didn't hear any crunching, and if he was to walk past me, I'd know about it basically. So I kind of backtraced my steps a little bit and tried to look for him, and I couldn't find the guy. So something that I forgot to mention here happened probably when I was about 17. Basically, it was probably around 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm wide awake. What you'll find if you watch my videos often is I love sleep, I'm just not very good at it, so I spend a lot of time awake. And this one particular night, My room had a completely different layout. I had a portable TV over here. My bed was there. I'm sleeping facing this wall, or trying to. So I'm lying on the side, I've got my eyes open, when all of a sudden in front of me just moves like this big figure wearing a black robe, and it goes all the way from this side of my vision. Basically it would have had to have come through the wall and walked all the way past me. Throughout my life I've had several occasions where memories from very early on in my childhood that I generally couldn't remember have come back to me, and typically it will happen when certain triggers are activated. Sometimes it can be a certain sight, a certain smell, a phrase, various other things really. Sometimes they even come back in the form of dreams, and I've had them validated by other people who were there at the time. So at this time I've been talking to a friend of mine about stuff that's happened in both of our houses, and part of the way through the conversation something just clicked, and it was a very, very strange sensation. So to give you a little bit of context on the scenario here, back when I was a lot younger, we live in a 3-bedroom house, and at the time there were 5 people living here: my gran, my uncle, me, my mum and my dad. So naturally my gran and my uncle had a separate room from each other, which just left one room left. So in that room it was just me, my mum and my dad. Now I used to sleep on this little sofa bed, fold-up sofa bed, and from my vantage point typically I could see the bottom of their bed over towards the window, and that just kind of sets the scene up a little bit. Now like I say, something clicked when I was talking to my friend. I recalled 2 memories, and it was the strangest sensation because I didn't just see the memories in my head, the feelings that I had at the time came flooding back to me as well. And quite frankly that within itself is a real mindfuck to feel, when all of a sudden you're feeling just happy and jovial and then other things come into play. So the first memory that I actually recalled was laying in that bed. It's probably around 6:30 in the morning, some light coming in through the curtains, and I've turned over to face the bottom of the bed and the window. Now right in the corner of the room, on close to my dad's side of the bed, I can see a soldier that's basically in a crawl position with a rifle. Now bear in mind these memories come back from when I was about 4 or 5 years old, so I don't really remember the detail too well, but I do remember how I felt at the time, and excuse me, I was feeling a little bit uneasy. I mean, why would this guy be in our house? But I could tell that he wasn't just like any other regular person, because I could see through him. And to put it into terms that hopefully people will get, think about taking an image into Paint Shop or Photoshop or GIMP, and then placing an image of a person over the top of it, and then turning down the transparency levels on the person until you're at like 30 to 40%. So you can clearly see through this guy. Even the light coming through the window is going through him. And he's just there, he's crouching. I didn't get any feelings of malice from him or anything like that. What I would later find out, later on in life, is that my dad had been in the army for a good amount of years. He was stationed out in Northern Ireland during the Troubles, and he'd been to Canada for a while, and he was also one of the guards that guarded Rudolf Hess in Spandau prison. The second memory was a very similar setup, but this time I didn't see a soldier. What I actually saw was an old dog that we had had. We had a dog called Sam, who was a stray when my parents first got him, and he died when I was 3 years old. Now I absolutely pined over that dog for years, a couple of years afterwards, many times. But my mum would have to come upstairs and console me because I was just crying my eyes out. And this was a particularly hard one to deal with, because the memories that I had, you would expect that I love this dog to bits. I can see this dog and I'm really happy to see him, maybe even want to get out of bed and go over to him. But even at such a young age, it felt really horrible to see the dog, even though he was happy, and he was once again just like the soldier over by my dad's bed, and I could see through him and everything. I knew full well that the dog had died, and it just felt like a cruel joke to play. You know, here's your dog, you can't see him or play with him or go and give him any fuss because he died. That was kind of the feeling that I got as a little kid, and I just sort of turned and faced the wall, just the same as I did when I saw the soldier.